Oh my God. I did I didn't know that. Oh my
I didn't know we had to
God.
go through all this.
That was so painful.
Oh my gosh. I wish I knew earlier. I didn't prepare for anything like this to happen.
I mean, I wish I knew either. I mean, like it's last time I think I did an Instagram live. I was back home in Uganda, so I didn't think that we
Yeah.
would require VPN for that. Oh, thank God we're
Yeah,
here. How are
I
you?
didn't think either because I'm good. How are you? I tried it with somebody, but it was somebody in the US. So I was like, let me just try it because I had never used it actually. I mean, I think I've done it once. So I wanted to make sure I still remember how to do it. So I tested with somebody, but they're in the US, so we
Hmm.
didn't have to use a VPN. But Mujevale, Mujevale, Mujevale. My name is Bani Kibuka, and welcome to another episode of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Yeah, I'm glad we finally here. Sorry to all our listeners, we've been late. Um, but it was technology.
Sorry,
But I'm
guys.
so glad that you were here. So how have you been? How you doing?
I've been all right. I've been all
Yeah.
right. Happy New Year. We're 2022
Happy
now.
New Year.
I
Yeah.
think things are going really fast.
Yeah. Yeah, we're already in the
So
middle of January, so the year is flying by so fast.
I feel like I can smell the next Christmas. I feel like I'm smelling Christmas 2022 already.
That's too fast. But anyway, for our listeners that are tuning in today, this is the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. It's a podcast, and if you've never heard of it, we do host people here to share about their stories, their lives. And this is the first time we're doing an Instagram live. I wanted to share with my listeners, my audience, to have somebody live on the studio, or I mean, it's not studio, it's like Instagram, but yeah, we decided to do a live, and today's special guest is Oliver Nakakande. Oliver has been a guest on my podcast, and if you've never listened to my podcast, her episode is episode 5. Uh, we have a YouTube channel, and we also have this podcast on Spotify, and I'm sure she has a link to her episode on in her bio. So if you're wondering, go check it out and listen to her story. We talk about her journey, where she's from, and how she ended up in like Miss Uganda. Which, for those of you listening and don't know who Oliver is the former Miss Uganda of 2019 and 2020. So, Oliver, welcome to my Instagram on my podcast.
Yay! I'm so happy to be here again. Honestly, I am.
Yeah.
And I apologize for not making it to the end of your podcast. I was
Hmm.
just so caught up in so many things. I was,
Yeah.
working here and there, and I had, assignments at uni. Like everything was just happening
Hmm.
at that time. So I was, um, I was a little bit stressed, to be honest. So now I am in a good place to take any interviews.
Yeah, I definitely understand. And by the time I sent you the request, I don't think I gave you enough time to kind of just prepare. It was a short notice. But yeah, we wanted to do a 2021 wrap up with some of the topics we've had on the podcast. And that's something we're going to look at today. There's some topics that I wanted to discuss with Oliver about Uganda, about general life. But I was thinking when I made today's preparation, because some of the topics that I shared with you, there is one topic that stands out and I really wanted to pay much attention to. Because the last time you were on the podcast, you emphasized education and you were talking
Hmm.
about what the kids were going through in Uganda. And for those of you who are listening to us from different parts of the world, Uganda has been on a lockdown for school for the last 2 years. And just this past Monday, they open the schools again. And Oliver, when you were on the podcast, you emphasize education. You emphasize like girl child education. How do you feel that now
Hmm.
the schools have been opened after 2 years of locking them?
I'm definitely overjoyed. I mean, I've been waiting for this week of reopening schools in Uganda since like forever. it felt like they will never open schools again. And I mean, for this week and 2022 is such a great year to say, because when
Hmm.
kids are going back to school, when kids are in school, that shows that we are heading somewhere. We like
Yeah.
2021, 2020 was like years where we had to just worry what next, because they are at home. Not everyone could
Hmm.
afford, international school, studying from home. Literally very few people can afford laptops, tablets, whatever. So it was
Hmm.
just a worrying time. So I'm definitely excited now.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I follow you on Instagram. I'm obviously we're using Instagram, and when the schools opened, you posted something on your page that today is a great day indeed, and schools in Uganda have been locked for over 2 years, and we've waited for a long time to see our students finally go back to school. Many students had given up on their studies because the lockdown was endless, and many young girls got pregnant. The others have been in increased child labor. And that's something I wanted to pay much attention to, because listening to these things and during the lockdown, you see other kids have given up on education, and education is really important. And
Mhm.
I posted a clip on my page where the last message you gave to the girls that if you can go, I'll paraphrase what you said. You said, if you're a young girl and you're able to go to school, go and study because you're gonna need these papers. And that's something I wanted you to talk about today. Like some of the girls have gotten pregnant during the lockdown. How do you look at that? Like now that the schools are open, and one of the religious leaders, I don't even remember his name, he posted on. I read it on the news. The girls who are pregnant should not go to school, and I was following that conversation because you came out and reacted on it, being a girl and standing in for other girls. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah,
What's
so
your take about it?
first of all, that tweet or that news article about that religious leader went
Hmm.
so viral, and I was so surprised that a religious leader could come out and say that if a girl got pregnant during the last 2 years of lockdown or they gave birth, they are not allowed to come back to school. I was like, excuse me? Are you? I thought this was more political than religious,
Hmm.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared much if it came from a politician, but coming from a religious man, I was like, oh, I'm really shocked. But then again, we can come up with some suggestions. Maybe he's a politician and a religious person at the same time. I don't know, but what I would suggest in this way would be letting the girls to go back to school. What if they want to go back to school? What if they want another
Hmm.
chance? On this very topic, I have a personal story. I have a personal story.
Okay.
Just let me share it with everybody else. So
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
having a few girls that I kind of they are under my arms. Like they're my babies, they're my sisters. And these are girls. I don't have an organization right now, but I'm planning on establishing one before the end of this year so that we can, just have an establishment. For now, it's just on ground, and these girls are still at home with their parents. So, this is a real story, and it got me really, really like worried and crying after they opened up these schools. This girl was given um, school fees, like not school fees,
Hmm.
like some money to go and buy some requirements for the school. So she went to the shop and bought a mattress, bought some saucepans, and the things as if she's going to move into her own apartment. So
Yeah.
little did she know that her dad was following her up. And the rest of the money, she used it to rent an apartment. I mean, Omuzigo, eh? Like a small room
Hmm.
with a
Yeah.
boy who's also as young. And when they told me this story, they told me her name is Angela. They say Angela doesn't want to go back to school because she apparently is in love with this boy, and the tuition, all the money that she's supposed to to use for school, she's rented a
Hmm.
place and she's bought a mattress. And I was like, what are you saying? What are you talking about? I was so disappointed, and I was so mad, but then I didn't want to, like, uh, show that I was super disappointed. So I was thinking,
Hmm.
I'm blaming her, but I don't want to blame her so much
Yeah.
because she's been at home for 2 years, and by the time I got Angela, she was about 10. So it's been like 8 years with her, and by the time I got her, she was not even going to school at all. So it's
Hmm.
been years of preparing her, and now uh, she's supposed to go into senior two, and she's turned 18. So she missed so many years, you
Yeah.
know, in her education. So she's feeling like she's already too grown for her class, and of course, she's taking in all this. The fact that people are going to laugh at her. Maybe she's 18 years old and in senior two. Literally 18 years old, you're done with senior six, right? Like
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
many students are done with senior six. So it was just things in my mind. I didn't want to blame her. I was thinking, what if I was in her shoes? What would I be doing? And
Hmm.
then after fuming and having all these fights, she apologized and she said, you know what? I want to go back to school. Now imagine a girl like her. If she had gotten pregnant, thank God we took her for test and all these things, and she was not pregnant and she didn't have any STDs. But what
Hmm.
if she had, God forbid, and then she says, I want to go back to school? And then what would we
Yeah.
say? Don't go back to school. We don't, because even the religious leaders are against you guys going back to school. It doesn't really
Hmm.
make sense. So
Yeah.
I believe that we should, or the education ministry should let these kids go back to school regardless. If they're saying that they are going to spoil the other students who are not pregnant, who are still babies, who are not teenage moms, then they should set up like certain education centers specifically for them, specifically for those
Hmm.
teenage moms, specifically for the pregnant girls. Recently, I was watching one of the top TV presenters in Uganda, and I really didn't know that she was a teenage mom, and she kind of studied when she was pregnant, and her story really inspired me. And I'm like, why don't we give these girls a chance if they want to go back to school? At the end of
Yeah.
the day, it's not really, really their fault. The government closed
Hmm.
schools for 2 years. What do you expect?
Yeah.
So I,
But
I
like
really don't blame anyone.
even if it was their fault, like we all make mistakes. I mean, some of the mistakes had us in
Exactly.
different ways. But like if they made a mistake and they realize, yeah, I made a mistake, but I want to continue with my education, give them a
Hmm.
chance. It's so disappointing because it's a religious leader. I'm Christian and I don't I can't hide that. So when I was looking at that, I look at the things the pastors or the bishops or people teach us in church is about grace. Like grace is we don't deserve forgiveness because we wronged. So that's the grace that these girls need too. Like they might have messed up, got pregnant, but show them the same grace that they teach us, like Christ showed us when we were sinners. And if a girl wants
Oh
to go
yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah. You're talking
school,
about Christ. Yes,
take her to, yeah,
yes, yeah.
like if she
Absolutely.
wants to go back to school, yes, she messed up, but show her that grace. Like, yeah, you messed up, but you want to get your life back together. I don't agree that denying them education can fix their problems. For that reason, it's going to make things even
Exactly.
worse. And like, I
Hmm.
think I don't agree at all with that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I feel
And
like
you know,
the
there
religious
is a,
leaders should be. Go ahead.
sorry. So I was saying, there's a stereotype that is not really mentioned out loud. I mean, it's not talked about a lot. So I would like to bring it out,
Okay.
because I'm facing it as well, and this is why I don't blame these girls at all. Like, once they accept that this was my fault and I deserve a second chance, why not get a second chance? So the stereotype is some people go to school at a later age, right? Because of so many reasons. So some people don't have tuition, some people just missed out, some people got pregnant and they missed out, they had a dead year or whatever. Now the stereotype comes in from your peers, first of all, the ones that you're studying with. For example, I'm studying with 20 years old, in my
Okay.
university. And I'm thinking of like students now thinking we've been at home not studying for 2 years. How are we gonna fit in with the students that have been studying from home and now they have graduated? They are like above us. They're gonna laugh at us. So this kind of stereotype and like it's some sort of a bully, I think. Is it bullying
Hmm.
somehow? I think it
Yeah,
discourages you
yeah.
because sometimes I personally feel like that. Some people when they find me, they're like, "Oh, you're studying for a degree. You should be doing your master's. Oh, you should be doing this. You should be doing that." And it's really, really discouraging, and it's really sad
Yeah.
because people don't know your story. And I'm I'm
Hmm.
I'm honestly grateful that I have been through this because now dealing with girls, I cannot judge because I have
Yeah.
literally been through every step. So I just wanted to
Hmm.
pass that on.
Yeah, you make a very good point on that, and I totally agree. I'm gonna read one of the comments from the listeners. Extreme, actually, Extreme. Shout out to Extreme. He was on my podcast too. He's an upcoming artist. Extreme says, but the fact is, the big schools in the country won't be able to change that. However, the government schools that will be possible. So he's trying to say that the private schools, the private big schools I'm not going to allow the girls to go back to school. But the government schools will be possible to allow, which I don't think there should be a difference. The government, and this is why I call the government, like they should support the girls because these also citizens. They should maybe come up with a
Mhm.
rule, like a rule or a law that if a girl wants to go to school, I mean, these girls can't go to school and disobey the school rules. Like they should follow the school rules if they want to be in school. And that's why the schools, I think they don't want to mess with if the girls come to school and they want to be treated. I mean, there's some things to consider there, but I think they should have a, a law that protects these girls that want to go back to school. Like if they say everybody has a right to education, then everybody is everybody, not just some people.
That's true. That's true. We're talking about Uganda, which is super like divided in so many
Hmm.
ways.
Yeah.
I told you this last time, and I'll say it again. Sometimes I feel like, I've used my voice, like people like you use their voices as well to so many to air out so many challenges and talk about this, talk about that. But at the end of the day, we go back to the result. Do you see the result? When you ask me that question, I see probably 0.0000001 result, like percent.
Hmm.
So we can do a lot of talking, but like actually this person who said that is so right, because when the
Yeah.
private schools know that we're gonna take in all the students from the rich or middle class families, and then the rest of the students it's none of our business. If you got
Hmm.
pregnant, stay at home. If you're a teenage mom, we don't want you. You're gonna spoil our students. So there
Yeah.
is a bit of unfairness, and even the top uh, um, advocates, when they come out to talk about these things, people never listen. The government never acts. Responsible responsible parties never act accordingly. So I'm just worried that we are talking, but our voice is not being heard, and I don't know
Right.
how we can make that happen, like being heard and see some results happening.
Yeah, but I'll just add on to that. Like, if these people, like right now, we might not have a lot of people listening here, but like also to remind the listeners who are tuning in, that if you missed any part of this discussion, I'm gonna post it on my YouTube channel later on and on my podcast, so you'll find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, at my YouTube channel, so you can catch up with this topic. But to go back to what you were saying, we can't keep quiet. Like we can't just say they're not our voices are not being heard because they will hear them. You don't know where this video is gonna go. You don't know who is gonna show up just randomly to tune into this podcast. Somebody will hear, even if like years to come. These things we put on social media will stay there and people will read about it. Maybe it won't change today, but maybe it will be beneficial for the people in the future. So we just gotta keep talking and talking and talking and
Maybe
talking.
I'm just a little bit impatient. I want to see results
Yeah,
because I feel like
yeah,
the 3 years I've been advocating for this, I feel like I want to see something happen. You know,
hmm,
like it was really, really sad to see a religious leader come out and say that. And you know
yeah.
what? I did some research about
Okay.
teenage pregnancies. Like the numbers are crazy. Like just in the first year when they locked down in 2020, 350,000 girls reported pregnant, like teenage girls. I'm talking 13, 14, 15 young girls. And
Mm.
in the first 6 months of 2021, 196,000 girls got pregnant.
Wow.
So we need to see action. I'm
Right.
really being honest. We need to see action. I'm saying this because I have ministers following me. I have government officials following me. I know they're hearing. I know they can hear our voices, but they should do something. I've been to the parliament of Uganda and spoke about the same things. Teenage pregnancies have not started now during lockdown. They started
Hmm.
way back, and in
Yeah.
lockdown has proved that these guys are really not doing anything, and they're not planning on doing anything to help the girls. So it is very sad, and I know I'm being positive. I know the voices are going to be hard. Our voices will be hard
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow, maybe years in the future, but they should show that they're at least trying to strategize a plan
Yeah.
to work on
Yeah, I
this.
think
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. Like we just can't wait till the future till like it's not relevant anymore. Like it needs to start right now, and I agree with you on that. But actually, teenage pregnancy or girls that got pregnant is not the only issue that's going on. I've been reading news throughout this week coming out from like the schools, and one of the quotes I shared from Philbert Baguma, he was talking about that the teachers are traumatized. You know, the teachers went through the 2 years without making money, and now they're trying to
yeah,
get them back to the job to do the job. So a teacher who has been traumatized without getting paid, he has struggled through
yeah,
COVID. You're bringing him back to teach these kids to have the same motivation that they had when they were making money. So they are traumatized, and they're gonna meet the learners or the students who are traumatized. They've been in lockdown, they've been struggling through their lives, and they're also coming from parents who are traumatized. Parents have not been working. So it's going to be a whole like chaos where I think they're going to need to come together and just work together. Because just imagine everybody is traumatized. Everybody's confused. Even the schools themselves, I've been reading about the schools, and I think it's East High. Yeah, East High just closed even after
yeah.
starting just
Closed
this
down.
week.
Why did it close down?
They couldn't sustain the school anymore. So actually, they just referred the students to other schools. So like they just realized, I don't think
Oh
they're gonna make it,
no.
and then they closed down. So like that's the situation that's happening there right now, and I
Hmm.
feel like those are some of the areas where the government can come in and help. The teachers need help, the parents need help, and the students themselves need help. And what hurt my soul,
True.
and I'm not making this topic political or anything, but I just read in the news that the State House was requesting 39 billion Uganda shillings to renovate to be renovated. And then my minds were like, like it's not. I mean, yeah, they might need renovation, but priorities like schools are struggling. Like, why don't they invest the money to kind of help the schools pick up? Like even pick themselves up on stats. So, what's your take on that? To see that these other priorities before even schools that are trying to help these kids
So you say the funds were for renovation?
renovating the state house,
Oh, the state
39
house. I thought
billion.
they're renovating the
Yeah,
schools.
that's what
What?
that was
You
my
know what?
point. Like,
You know, I'm not surprised. Like issues about Uganda don't surprise me anymore. I mean I sometimes I just get mad and then I'm like, you know what, it is Uganda and it is what it is. But it's
yeah,
so sad that people can still do that at this, you know, times where people are struggling. Like if
hmm,
they could, for example, Oh my God, someone just put a huge comment, but it's
Yep. Yeah, we'll read that later. First, finish your
okay,
yeah
okay.
what you're
Okay,
talking
so if
about.
they could, for example, invest this money, like what I talked about, we have so many, over 500,000 girls pregnant. Why don't they invest in creating like facilities that can take care of these girls through school, because they don't want to mix them up. This is something that's very important, and the girls are not giving up on education. They still want to go back to school. So why not do that? And also increase the teachers' salaries, because they've been sitting at home for so long. To just build their morale to come back to school and teach, they should just
Hmm.
invest in them. So I
Yeah.
think this whole money should just come into education than the state house, if I had that right, because that's very weird. What's wrong with the state house?
Yeah, it could.
I
Like
think
I said, I don't take away that they might need renovation, but here you consider priorities. Like even when you're doing your own life, like you look at things, what is going to benefit you more. So that's what you consider more. Another as a country, what do you think is going to benefit the country more? Just also to remind the people that are tuning in right now, you on the Ugandan Boy Talk Show podcast with Bonnie. This is our Instagram page. We have a YouTube channel. We have a podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we host people to kind of share their life stories. And today I have an honor to host former Miss Uganda, Oliver Nakakande, to kind of talk about a few topics. And right now we are talking about the schools opening up in Uganda and discussing some of the issues in Uganda. We're both Ugandans. We're both proud of our country, and that's why we're putting out these voices to talk about these things. And I wanted to thank you, Oliver, for using your platform to talk about this. Because every time I've requested you for something, yeah, I need you to come and talk about this. You never said no. You don't say no, so you always come out to help. And I love that. I'm
I'm
proud
always
of
here.
to be a Ugandan. And that's why my podcast, I had to put the Ugandan boy, because I will never change. I'm always going to be a Ugandan boy. I might not live in Uganda right now, but I have families, relatives, friends who are back in Uganda, and I'm concerned about them. So right now, let's read one of the comments. And to the listeners, if you have any questions or you have any submission that you want to make, just put in a comment. We're going to give time and read it. So the Velos podcast, shout out the Velos podcast. He's also another good guy doing a lot of good work. Check out his work on his podcast. He's positive and trying to impact the country, and that's what I like to hear and see from my other fellow people. So he says, yes, we got to keep talking about alternative thoughts. The system is mostly full of elder people who only have old conclusive ideologies. Life shouldn't be about judging others. Yeah, I think he's trying to talk about the point of the religious leader about judging others, and
I
I
really
see
don't
where.
want this show to turn into political.
No, I promise
I
it won't be
don't. I
political.
hate I hate talking politics.
And on that note, for on the positive side, the government came out with a loan offer. So they offered a loan for the students. I think it was just a higher education, like universities, but they offered a loan to 920 people out of the 4,000 applicants. So, well, they did a good thing, which we should shout out them for that. But offering, and this is a loan, not free money. This is money that these people are supposed to pay back. So they only offered it to 920 out of the 4,000 applicants. But it's a good thing, and we thank them for that. So like standing out and helping and coming up to help those 920, because I know it will be beneficial. So I think the government should continue coming and helping in this situation, because this is when they need them the most.
Was that for university students?
Yeah, this was for higher education, so they just come in for the university students.
Okay. They should
And
just take them through school. They
uh,
shouldn't loan them.
yeah,
At the
that's
end
what
of
I
the
was
day, they
saying.
are going to graduate and get paid
Yeah.
pennies and work until they die without actually finishing that loan payment. So why don't they just take
Mhm.
them through school?
But there's a lot of other challenges that are going on. There's a shortage of teachers, and I'm assuming that we already talked about this. That some teachers, what they went through the pandemic, they don't want to come back to teach. So there's a shortage of teachers in schools, what's going on. And one of the other headlines I read, I think was from NTV, they said out of the 489 pupils who had enrolled at Nakakongo Primary School in Zimbabwe district before the lockdown was announced 2 years ago, only 23 reported back. So 23 kids reported back from the
What?
429. And the teachers were just
Oh
sitting
my
under
God.
the sheds just sitting. So they looking at things like that. And
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God.
I don't know. It's like you say, the only thing we can do is just talk about this. And maybe somebody will hear and get touched about whatever is going on.
This pandemic in Uganda, it wasn't COVID. It's literally a teenage pregnancy pandemic.
Hmm.
That's it. It's not a COVID pandemic. The
Yeah.
COVID pandemic happened, but the aftermath of that, I mean, the effects that came out were worse than the pandemic itself.
Hmm.
So that's why I just think they should give everyone a chance to go back to school. People are crying. It's not even just pregnancies. It's poverty. People lost jobs. People can't afford to take back their students to school, their children to school. So I don't know how the government can help, but I wish they could, and I'm praying that they do, because if there are students out there who are still interested in going back to school, they know the government knows very well that the economy has been shut down for so long. They should just come up with a plan. I was reading in some countries during COVID lockdown, they were giving out like money, like support to
Hmm.
their nationals. In Uganda,
Yeah.
that never happened. I was there during when the first time they locked down, and the only thing I got from the government was a sack of kosho and beans. And I
Hmm.
was very glad that I got that, because many, many people didn't receive anything from the government. So
Yeah.
please, if anyone is watching, we should tag the Ministry of Health on this video, Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health. They should hear this, and I hope they can help. Is there any way we can tag? Oh, you can tag because you invited me. You can pin Ministry of Education and Ministry of Health. These guys are super
Okay.
active on Instagram. They can
Hmm.
hear our cry, hopefully, and do the needful.
Let me see. Yeah. As we continue, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna read a comment from Erina. She says that's our government. It doesn't really care about people. 39 billion to renovate the state house. What hurts me is they know what to do and where to put the money, but act blind and deaf. I mean, yeah. And also, Photo for Fashion. Shout out to Photo for Fashion. They say the interesting part is that the Pope himself could have never said something like that. The Pope always advocated for women education and support of the workers. Yeah, that's right. We have a question. Do you think sexual education could be improved in the future to help lower teenage pregnancy during normal circumstances? Maybe we'll have you
Do
answer
you
that.
think, can you
Do
repeat
you
this? Do
think
you think it went up?
sexual education could be improved in the future to help lower teenage pregnancies during normal circumstances? Some, I,
Absolutely.
mhm,
Absolutely. And you know what? The only problem that we're having in Uganda is we don't want to talk about sex. It's a
yeah,
taboo. Sex education, sexual reproductive health, anything that has to do with sex is a taboo. And this is how I was brought up. We saw sex as if it's, don't talk about sex. If you talk about sex, you're a bad girl. Like this mindset needs to change. And the
hmm,
only way I believe we can do that right now, I'm so glad that Ugandans are embracing technology, embracing social media. Like on TikTok, I'm seeing so many Ugandans. This is one
yeah,
of those great platforms that we can embark on and just, start like a campaign on like sex education, sexual reproductive health, and teaching how to like, use contraceptives, different contraceptives, everything that is related to that. So absolutely, there is a future in that with the use of technology. Otherwise, if we
Mm-hmm.
wait on our parents, our singers, they're always going to be like, I'm not against our culture. I love our culture so much, but sometimes we're just too reserved. We're just like, oh no, don't talk about that. Wait
Yeah.
until you're getting married. And before you
Uh-huh.
know, before you know, now, for example, this family with this girl that I just talked to you about, they were seeing 18-year-old girl as a baby. They were looking at her as a little girl. But for her,
Mm-hmm.
she was already exposed because she's talking to her friends. She's hearing things, and her body is also asking for some kind of attention. So if we don't talk about these things, or if we don't use like technology, then the kids are not gonna learn. So we need to embrace technology, especially social media.
Yeah.
I love social media. I feel like I can just wake up and say something, and many, many people will get to hear that, and it will
Mm-hmm.
impact somebody. So we should use social media for very good topics like sexual reproductive health.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I was gonna say like social media is really most people use it in different ways. Some people use it, but social media is a good tool to educate, to advocate, to help other people. And actually, speaking of, you were talking about we were talking about the government. I started a campaign this week after just seeing a lot of kids who want to go to school, but their parents can't afford to take them to school. And I started a campaign of just helping. I'm gonna try to help at least 15 kids to go back to school, and I already have three of them found sponsors for those kids, and
Ooh.
two of them are in school. They were able to go to school this week, and another girl is studying next week. Actually, her story is sad. Um, she like Abby. I shared her story on my social media. Most of you saw it.
Mhm.
Abigail Molungi Nalukenge. She's 4 years old. Abby's mom, Joan Chisachi, got
Nakakande from
pregnant.
my clan.
She got her mom got pregnant when she was 14 years old, and the man responsible
Oh
for the
no.
pregnancy immediately left after knowing that Joan was pregnant. Abby is staying with her sick grandmother, and suffering from cervical cancer, stage 4. And Joan, the mother, is working any petty jobs. Actually, I shared pictures of the mother. She looks like she was all dirty. I have a denga porter, like a kola kubizimbe, like the mother. And she took a picture with her daughter. I
Mm.
shared it on my social media for those of you who check it. But she's working to help her mother. And in that situation, she can't take this girl to school, but the girl is ready to go to school. So I shared her story. And that's what I'm going to be
How old
doing.
is
And if
she?
anybody, the mother,
No,
or
the,
the
the
girl
baby.
that goes to school. The baby is 4 years old.
4 years old. That
So,
means now the mom is 18.
yeah, the mom is 18 and she's
Wow.
not
And
in
she still
position
wants
to
to go
take
back to
the.
school.
No, actually, they're trying to get the baby to school. For her, she said, I just want my daughter to go to school so then she can work to take
Oh,
care of her
she's
mother and the girl.
she's
Yeah.
not interested to go back to school again.
I think she is, but she can't afford it at this point. She cared about her daughter first before her. So yeah, I was able to find a sponsor for her daughter, and I think we're gonna get in touch with the
Oh,
mother
great.
to see if she's also like interested in going back to school. So that's
Hmm.
my campaign. I have other two boys
That's
that
amazing.
I'm gonna post up tomorrow. The boy there, I got messages from my social media. These two boys are from the village in Matunga, Masaka, somewhere, but they want to go to school, and they started working during the pandemic, and they want to go finish their education. Like one boy is in P6, another one is in P7, and I just want to do that and at least help at least 15 kids to go back to school. I sponsor two of the kids, and then other people that I'm finding are helping me to sponsor these kids through their school. So if anybody out there listening, tuning in, and this is something you want to do, you can just contact me and help these kids go back to school. We're not going to sit here and wait for the governments to take kids to school ourselves. If we're in a position to get somebody's hand, you just get somebody's hand. Like I already say, my podcast is about we raise, they're lifting each other up. So whatever you can do for somebody, just do it.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Honestly, kudos. Like, thank you so much for setting that up because you are definitely touching a life. And it doesn't matter if it's one, two, or 10 or 20, you are
Yeah.
helping somebody. And that's amazing. Just like you said, we can't wait for the government. And I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. That's why, it's easier to launch an organization where
Mm-hmm.
people can read
Yeah.
about you and see what you do. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do as well, so that I can establish that. Otherwise, I'm getting so many questions of what are you doing? How are you, like using your platform, blah, blah, blah. But I am definitely doing it, but, launching it and putting it
Mm-hmm.
out there is amazing. So for you with this platform, the podcast, I think it's a great, great platform for that,
Yeah.
for raising awareness and helping people. So thank you for using
Yeah.
it really well.
Yeah, actually, the sponsors that sponsor these girls, they came from my podcast because I share the story of my podcast. And the lady I don't know. I mean, I'm blessed to live in the United States where there's a lot of people who uh, can offer help, like people who are concerned and love to help other people. So I use that. And the lady who follows me on my podcast in the United States just said, "How can I sponsor this girl?" And that's how it all started. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to help. And we're going to keep sharing these stories and see how we can help like all of them. So yeah,
That's amazing.
we've spent a lot of time talking about the education part of it. Is there anything else we've not touched on the education? And we don't have to go through all those topics actually, because we've taken a lot of time. I think we've done this for about 50 minutes, about 40 minutes. So with the other, is there anything else you want to touch on about education that we've not talked about?
Maybe just the message. I think we've talked about everything. Now it's all about the government and whoever is concerned to do the needful. But for the girls or for everybody, not just the girls, but even the boys, because some boys actually just turned into vendors, and
Hmm.
they're not interested in going back to school because now they're earning some 5K on the side and they
Yeah,
can they can they can survive. So they're like, why am I even going back to school? They're feeling like they're already grown ups. But whoever is out there and they feel like they still want to go back to school and they don't have, like a solution, maybe they're still looking for tuition, please don't give up. Don't give up on the
yeah,
hopes of, because some opportunity might pop up. I will be sharing opportunities if I get some. And also I am registering stories from girls, like I told you, girls with the stories that are like a difficult situation. We can,
hmm,
look into that story and see how we can help. So if you're out there and you have a story and you're one of those girls, please don't be afraid to reach out. We could find a way of helping each other out because I have a community. I share stories with people and they can, reach out. I can't say that I help these people because I don't have everything to offer them, but at least I can pass on those stories to others to help. So don't lose hope and just, try to stay safe at home until you can get an opportunity to go back to school.
yeah. I'm at this point. I'm going to read another comment from one of the audience, one of the listeners. I am Hilda Grace. She says, "Very sad. We're afraid of talking about sex in our society. If we're going to talk about sex education, we need to translate it to the grassroots because many girls have been impregnated by old men, and that's the thing you're talking about. Like I feel like some girls get pressured into money and wanting money to do something, and that drives them because
Mhm.
like a girl will be like, I really need to do this but I need money, and there's this guy who's going to give me the money, and that
Mhm.
takes them into that. And that goes, I mean, I don't want to blame everything to the government, but when people can't access the things they should access, that's also another cause of why they go down the road to find another option on how they can get the things they want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, Dubai, I live in Dubai. Dubai is a perfect example for that. You know, it's 5 hours away from home. When girls get an opportunity, which they call an opportunity, most of the times it turns out to be a scam. Actually, I should warn them on this because they say, "Oh, we're going to take you to Dubai. We're going to take you to Dubai." Everybody's, thinking of this beautiful Dubai where you come and chill. Before they know, someone receives them, pays for their tickets and everything, a fellow Ugandan, a fellow Ugandan, and a woman or guy in that sense. Mostly women actually do this. They receive them, take their passports, and send them off to the streets. Go, make money.
Hmm.
And I need this amount by the end of the day. So the girls are in so much trouble when it comes to like some people are seeing these girls that are stranded as opportunities, as business opportunities, and this is so bad. So please stay warned. Stay warned.
Yeah.
If anyone tries to lie to you that there's a travel opportunity and you're not paying for anything, and you're gonna get there and work, maybe work in a restaurant or work here and there, it's probably gonna be a scam. So try and do
Hmm.
your research before you start planning on this travel. So that's something people should
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, Olive, I really appreciate you coming on here and us discussing about this. I don't really think, because I've taken a lot of your time, so I don't really think, unless
No,
you're
I'm
down for
fine.
it. But
It's
we
it's
we
it's
still
8 o'clock and I'm home. I'm going to sleep after this.
yeah, we still had a lot of some other topics, but I feel like today I'm gonna just do two, and then I'll find another time to bring you back to do the models and mental health. Like today, we'll just let's. The next thing I wanted to just go through was like COVID and the vaccines. And actually, you happen to be a victim of that because during the Christmas, you were in isolation. First, talk to us about that. Like, how was your isolation?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I I I I never tested positive before, but I
Hmm.
believe I had COVID before because
Hmm.
sometime back in 2019, actually when it first came out, I had all the symptoms, and then again in 2020. So I believe I had it, but this time I didn't even have like symptoms. I just had like a very mild flu, and I had my voice changed a little bit. I didn't sound the way I sound. So I thought maybe it's fine. But then until somebody I was hanging out with tested positive and they told me I tested positive, I'm like, what? Maybe this crooked voice that I'm having is COVID.
Yeah,
And I went to test, but I was just thinking, it's definitely going to be negative. Oh my God, I was
yeah,
shocked. I was shocked. And at that time, even until now, the cases are still on the rise here. But I mean,
yeah.
people are still not experiencing those symptoms like before. They're just mild,
Hmm.
which is great. And because people are vaccinated, and I am vaccinated. I got my booster shot. I tested positive after I think 2 weeks of getting my booster shot. So people
Yeah.
were telling me on my social media, "You're the one telling us to vaccinate and getting boosters. Now you're positive and you're in isolation. You can't even enjoy your Christmas." I'm like, guys, chill. I'm not feeling bad. I'm not sick at all. I was just in isolation because I'm supposed to be in isolation. But I'm
Hmm.
not feeling bad. I wasn't feeling bad. So I just lit up my Christmas tree. I cooked my own food. I was in here with my teddy bear. I mean, I'm always by myself, so it's fine. And also
Yeah.
the fact that I'm used to staying alone and
Hmm.
staying indoors. So isolation felt like just another 10
A
days
normal day.
at home.
Yeah.
But I was into fitness. I used to wake up in the morning very early, as I always do, and work out. I have a yoga mat. I have a rope. I used to skip and sweat, sweat, sweat. I used to get into
Hmm.
to my balcony. The sun rises onto my balcony, so I used to lay in the sun and just. I got a tan during those 10 days of isolation. I got really sunburnt because I read somewhere.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that the sun is good for COVID.
Yeah, because it makes you sweat. That's why when COVID just started in Uganda, they were doing the steaming thing, like do steaming, and then they
Yeah,
would take COVID out, and people were like putting hot water and covering themselves with a blanket so they can
I
like
did that
still.
as well. I did the
Yeah,
steaming.
my
I boiled every single herb I could find in my apartment. I boiled lemons, ginger, whatever, and then cover myself in a blanket and just taking it all in, and then come out when I'm all like sweaty and all. It worked. It worked. Like in
yeah.
less than 10 days, I tested negative, so I was back
Mm.
to normal.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really want to applaud the government of Uganda for like the vaccine distribution. I think I've been following that, and they've done a really good job about like vaccines and people getting vaccines. But do you think, like, even having the vaccines, do you think they have done a good job about educating people about these vaccines and the vaccine distribution in like villages? Because like these vaccines, the only thing I hear, oh, they're in Kololo, they're in this place. How about the people who are down in like the villages? Like, are they? Do you think the government has done a good job about distributing them to the people in villages?
I'm saying I don't think so. I don't think they've done a very good job because I was in Uganda in October and I went to the village. I love to spend time in the villages. And people literally don't know anything about vaccines. And they also have stereotypes about vaccines being deadly. Like if they put this needle in your body, they're injecting some virus which is going to kill you in the next 5 years. So they still need to release some correct press to reach to these people and also to encourage them and also bring them on the ground because like you said
Hmm.
the main vaccination centers are in the central region, and
Yeah.
if you move in further, people are really ignorant about vaccination. Really, I really thank God for Uganda. I feel like God is the only one protecting Ugandans on COVID, honestly, because when
Yeah.
I look at like places like here, I mean, I'm so proud of the government here in the UAE. They've done and they've played a very good role. They've done an amazing job. Literally, everyone is vaccinated. People are well informed, and this is where education comes in. When you are communicating to an educated environment,
Hmm.
it's easier. But when you are communicating to people who are less educated, they are going to
Hmm.
challenge you. They're going to say, "You're going to kill us with this vaccine. You're going to,"
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's such a challenge. So
Hmm.
please educate the people
And
first of all, and
that's
also raise awareness about the vaccines.
that's the same thing. Like
Sorry.
even when we go to school, people think like going to school you're gonna learn English, but you not only just learn English. There's something else that adds to you just by having education, like the way you collect your information, the way you know, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is a reliable source, this is not a reliable source. Which people who are not educated, they cannot differentiate what's reliable and what's not reliable. Like somebody could put something on
True.
Facebook and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I saw it on Facebook. That's not true." And that thing happens it happens in America too. Like, yes, people think of America as like, "Oh yeah, that's a perfect country." Yeah, but people will argue with you about something they saw
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook that somebody's sitting in his bedroom typed from his head, and they believe, "Yeah, I saw it. Somebody did this." But yeah, having education and just knowing what's good, and that's the thing. Like, not
Absolutely.
in a bad not in a bad way, but people in Uganda are kind of taking it in like that. Like they won't do the research
You
for
just
themselves.
you just reminded me of my bikini pictures, for example. I have two different audiences. Like here on Instagram, I have a big Ugandan audience, but they're not super active like the
Yeah.
rest of the world. And on Facebook, it's mostly Ugandans, and they're very active on Facebook. So
Hmm.
when I post my bikini pictures on Facebook,
I
oh
was gonna
my
talk about
God.
that. I was gonna talk about that because I actually followed that. I read the comments. I read. I was gonna talk about that when we talk about the modeling part of it because I was saving that for that. But let's talk about that real quick, actually. So when you posted that, and like I was gonna ask you a question, like do people want you to dress in a gomesi at the beach or something like that? But I'll let you talk about it since you started it.
I don't want to sound rude, but you know, I've been in the limelight for quite some time now. I'm kind of used to the backlash, what people are gonna say. As long as what I post, I feel it's not gonna hurt anyone. I'm always
Hmm.
about good vibes and I'm always
Yeah.
gonna be real. This is what my audience should always expect from me. However, posting bikini pictures. I've been going to the beach since like 7 years ago. I started wearing bikinis proudly in public. I mean, when I was in Uganda, it was like a kind of a taboo. If you wear bikinis, like you're naked. Don't even
Hmm.
post that. And I respected that. But my mind kind of opened, and I'm like, why not? I'm going to the beach. Everybody's wearing a bikini, and they're taking pictures. And surprisingly, for example, if Kim Kardashian wears a bikini, and you will find Ugandans liking and commenting because it's Kim
Right.
Kardashian. Now, if a Ugandan wears the same bikini and goes to the beach, why are you doing that? Like, it's so funny. Like, I feel like I just want to laugh about it, but I think I don't want to blame anyone. I think it goes back to the fact that, first of all, Uganda is landlocked. We do not have
Hmm.
the oceans, the very nice seas. So we don't really go a lot
We have
swimming out
KK
to the
beach.
beach in the ocean. KK beaches. Have you been there? Have you seen how
I
people
would.
dress? People
I've
comes
been there a
in
long
in
time
in
ago.
in uh, in skirts and
Yeah.
trousers and go. This is unacceptable. You have to respect the beach and the swimming pool. So, anyways, I think also the fact that Ugandans are still close-minded about this whole topic. So I'm going to still post these pictures because I feel like it's also kind of raising awareness in a way, because it's normal to wear a gomesi when you're going on a traditional ceremony. It is normal to wear a long skirt or a sharia when you're going to the mosque, and it's normal in the same way to wear a
Hmm.
bikini when you're going swimming. It's perfectly normal. I feel like I shouldn't even be talking about this, but because so many people made fun of those pictures and real comments, I'm like, you know what? The good thing is, I have a big audience and they divide themselves into two. So there's
Yeah.
team bikini and team no bikini. So they
Hmm.
clash. I'm like, I'm just
No
gonna
big
sit
deal.
back and watch.
Yeah.
It's so
Erin laughed
funny.
at my KK beach suggestion. Like, yeah, we are landlocked, but we have KK beach. I remember that because we when I was back in Uganda, we used to go there a lot. But yeah, I really, and that takes me back to I saved a screenshot of you talking about the post from NTV where we're gonna go back to the school a little bit because I forgot about it. Now you brought it. So you said seriously, what if the girls want to go back to school? This statement sounds more political than religious, which you mentioned earlier. And the first comment of the girl that commented back said, "No one is refusing them their right to school, but our society needs order. And how can you tell other kids not to get pregnant until they finish school? Bananga, let's normalize wrong." What surprised me was this girl is a girl first, and she's making the comment. Like, this is something that can happen to her because she's a girl. Like, she can be in that position. And like, what would she want to happen to her? That was
Can you
a girl.
repeat what you said? Because you were breaking a little bit, like from the comment parts. You were breaking.
Oh, no, I read your comment, the one you posted. You responded to the bishop when NTV posted the bishop guy who said girls should not go to school. And then you just said, seriously, what if the girl wants to go back to school? This statement sounds
Mm-hmm.
more political than religious. And there's a girl that commented on your comment below. She was like, no one is refusing them their right to school, but our society needs order. And how can you tell other kids not to get pregnant until they finish school? I said, Banange,
Mm-hmm.
let's normalize wrong. And I was saying the first thing that caught my attention was like, she's a girl and she's responding like that, where you were trying to,
Mm-hmm.
you a girl, you're trying to defend another girl. But when somebody is a girl, she's just like is it sabotaging other girl, which she can be in that position too. Like you try to think about the thing that
Hmm.
way. And you when you mentioned about like people commenting on your social media about like negative things, I read that. I was like, I think I need to share, talk about that. And when people on social media, like they just talk about whatever they want. Like they don't think about the consequences and what is at play. But yeah, that was just a comment to talk about um, how people
Yeah.
react on Facebook.
Do you want me to respond to that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can.
Yeah, so what I think is, I think she has a point. She has a point. Normalizing the wrong, that is what we're used to doing. And if something is wrong, we're not saying that when the girls get pregnant from home and they're teenagers, it is the correct thing to do. It is wrong, and they once we're saying once they acknowledge that I did something wrong, I'm sorry, I deserve a second chance. Please take me back to school. This is where I came in to say, what if they want to go back to school? They deserve a second
Hmm.
chance. And for, I don't know if he's a bishop or reverend, whatever he is, I'm sorry, but man of God, that was very disrespectful to come from a person like him, because we would expect religious leaders to be on our side. I don't think I would
Hmm.
have commented on that post if it wasn't a man dressed up in like a religious person. So for me, it was
Yeah.
a shock. But that comment from that person that you just read has a point, because it is wrong for people to get pregnant at home, girls to get pregnant when they're teenagers. But once they know that we made a mistake, then why not give them a second chance? This is us
Hmm.
acknowledging that they're wrong. And if they don't want to mix them up with the other students, create facilities. Don't tell me that Uganda government doesn't have money to create facilities for like a 500,000 girls around the country who are teenage moms or pregnant, to take them through school. It's not a way of encouraging the other students to say, oh, it's okay for you to get pregnant or to give birth, or you can still go back to school. It's not. We can always teach the other ones that it's not fine in a way. There's always
Hmm.
ways. you know it's such a sad comment anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we've touched most of the topics, and actually, I'm gonna just throw in because I had only a few questions on the modeling. When you talked about the bikinis on, because that was gonna be my center of focus, and just talk about that because I had a question I was running on my podcast, like, do you think models are over sexualized, like for something like that, like a model wears a bikini at the beach, and people are gonna think, oh, they're promoting sexual activities or they're promoting sex. Do you think they're being over sexualized of the things they do?
Absolutely. In block letters, absolutely, yes. Models are We are very like over sexualized, and not just models, but women in general. We are over sexualized. Like, if I think we should appreciate the trends and just move on in our heads that this is the trend and this is how things are running, this is how women are dressing, and it's fine. I don't even know why women are always the center of attention and attraction. Or maybe because I'm a woman, I don't see that. I don't find women attractive, or I don't sexualize over women, but I don't even sexualize over men. And I find it so
Hmm.
gross when I get sexualized as a model. For me, in my own, like my own story, hasn't happened maybe a few times in like physical terms, but it's been mostly online. Online, oh my God, because people know that they come into your box, so it's just between the two of you, and maybe you post something, and for them they find it like, maybe they can see your teeth. It's normal. We're human beings. We're women. We have boobs. We have teeth. We have things. Don't sexualize. As a model, I have been facing this so many times, and it's very annoying. It's very annoying. And if a guy wants to approach me and it comes to me through that direction of like sexualization, that's a no, no, no. That's a way no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. But I should say I've been lucky in the industry. I've been lucky in the industry. I haven't gotten like over sexualized, like from the directors, fellow models and stuff, it's mostly been online. And and actually way back before I turned a model. But this is gonna be a story for another day.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I think I will just have to have you back for another day. I think we're gonna summarize this. Oh, Arthur 000256 just came in and say, what is what was all about this? What is the topic? Arthur, you came in late, but to catch up with this with this topic, we're gonna have it on my YouTube channel, the Ugandan Boy Talk Show podcast, or I'm gonna share it on my Instagram page, where you can catch it. But we've been talking about the schools opening in Uganda. We touched a little bit about COVID and the vaccines, and just a tiny bit about modeling and if they're being over sexualized. That's a recap. But if you want to hear all that we've been talking about, you're gonna have to go back and start it over again. But yeah, thanks for asking the question. And yeah, Oliver, I want to appreciate you. We've now gone through, it's a long talk and it will be a long talk. And I'm always grateful to have you because you have like a lot of stories to share from different perspectives, backing it with your personal stories. Like, I know when I've asked you questions, you're like, oh yeah, I can share a story about that on this. This is how it affected me, which people can connect to on like a human level base, like not just talking about things out of the cloud where people can't even think about, but you connect them to the people so they can relate in their own lives. So, is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm sure I'm going to have you back because I wanted you to talk about the modeling. We still have a lot of questions on that and mental health. I've done those topics a lot on my podcast, but I want to hear your perspectives on that. So I'm sure when we get a chance in the future, I'll have you back on the podcast. But is there anything else you want to message you want to send out? Kids who are in school, who are going back to school, listeners, anything?
First of all, I was just thinking that, we both enjoy these kind of conversations. I love to be on your show, and I'm thinking we should just probably just choose one topic because we could
Mm-hmm.
maximize on that, and then maybe
Yeah.
next time talk about something else. And I'm thinking next time I would like to throw more light about the Dubai story because many people from Uganda are super interested in Dubai and like flights coming here are full every day. Um, anyways, that's just a suggestion. So on the other note, I want to thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure. And also for our viewers for today, this is my first time. You say this is your first time as well, right? Doing the live
Yeah,
podcast.
this is my first live podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Thank you for joining us, and everyone who has contributed some questions, some comments. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all, and we'll be letting you know when we'll be out, when we'll be on again next time. And for the girls and the boys that are waiting to go back to school and don't have everything right now because what happened, maybe you're poor, whatever, don't give up. Just share your stories and reach out to whoever that you believe can help. Don't give up on education because I personally believe there is a lot that education has to offer, and don't give up on your dreams. Keep on trying again and again and again. Don't be afraid to reach out in my inbox if you have a story. Like I said, I have some people, some close friends that I share these things with and are willing to help. And also to you, they can share, right? Some stories, and
Yeah.
you can,
Yeah. Most definitely.
so please reach out. I think that's
Like
it from my
I,
side.
I was gonna add on that. Actually, if our listeners today are listening and they're from Uganda and they know of a story, somebody struggling and trying to go through school. I told you about the campaign I'm running to help anybody who wants to go to school to find them at least somebody who can sponsor them to go back to school. Share with me those stories, the pictures, so I can post them on my social media and try to help as much as we can so kids can go back to school. So send me those stories of kids that want to go back to school but can't, and we can only do what we can do to help. And I say thank you both for the talk. God bless you. God bless the work of your hands and your lives plus plans. Much love. Thank you for tuning in. She's been on there ever since we started because I've seen her reacting
Thank
and
you, Arena. Thank you
participating.
so much.
But yeah, actually today I was planning to just focus on one topic, but when we started talking, some of the things we're talking about were hitting on the topics I had. But I like the idea that you said just focus on one topic. Now, the Dubai story, does it fall in the modeling topic, or it was in the where would I save that for when I have you
It is
back again?
more of the lifestyle. It is
The
more
lifestyle.
of the dreams, dream
I think,
chasing.
yeah, I
You know,
think,
people chasing their dreams
yeah, I think I
and
know how to
end up
do that
just
because,
falling into the pit. I don't know how
yeah, I
we
think
can
I'll.
call that.
Yeah, we can hold that. I actually like that because some people have dreams about the United States, which people would want to hear. I know a lot of people have
Oh
asked
my
me,
God.
is
And
it
I think the
better?
United States, yes. If people say, oh my God, United States, is like, oh my God, United States, I want to go there, I want to go there.
Yeah.
It's even worse. Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
that'll be our next topic. So we will share about the dream chasing, and I'll have you back here again. We'll wait for a little bit whenever we get a chance, and then we'll have you back on the podcast and the show. So yeah, we are gonna end it here. And thank you all listeners for tuning in, and thank you for the contributions, people who have been tuning in from when we started. Again, I will say this is going to be available on my podcast, the audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. And also, I'm going to post it on my YouTube channel where you can go and listen to the topics we've had today. Mainly, we've talked about schools in Uganda, touched a little bit about COVID and modeling. So yeah, you can go check it out. And don't forget to follow my Instagram page and follow Oliver on her Instagram page. And next time we'll be here. Vala's podcast. Thanks for tuning in and be blessed.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can say bye. I
I
was
was
like,
waiting
whoa,
to
whoa.
throw kisses.
Oh
I was
yeah,
waiting
yeah.
to
You
throw
can throw
kisses to
kiss as well.
everybody. I always throw kisses at the end. But honestly,
Oh
thank you
yeah.
so much. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Love you all. See you next time. Mwah.
All right. See you. Thank you. Hey there, I am Bonnie Kibuka, the host of the Ugandan Boy Talk Show. Thanks for watching my video and don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time for a new episode about my podcast. And for more information about this podcast, follow me on my Instagram page, talk_show_256.